Greetings everyone, welcome to Advance. This is a very nice game from FIDE Swiss 2025. With the white pieces we have Arjun Erigaisi, and with the black pieces we have Vincent Keymer. Just to give you perspective, Vincent is actually here 7 points, so if he's able to win this game he might just qualify, but he still have to battle it out with Anish. I think who will get the who will win the FIDE Swiss 2025, but let's see what happens. This is a spectacular game, and if Arjun is able to win, then you would want actually Anish to be able to get a draw or something. Then he has some chances of qualifying for the candidate, but it's very complicated. But I don't think Arjun has that much chances, but he's still gonna try and fight it out with Vincent, and let's see how the game goes. Here just t4 by Arjun. We have knight to f6, c4, e6, and knight to f3, b6. Now going for the queen's Indian defense. a3 now, bishop to b7, knight to c3, and d6. And trying to go for a win with the black pieces is never easy, but definitely Vincent is gonna try. Arjun goes for queen to d3, he goes for g6, bishop to e4, and double fiend ghetto variation of queen's Indian, and this is gonna be the Petrosian variation, and it's gonna be very, very nice. Bishop to e2, knight bd7, h3 now, castles, bishop to e3, and just a6. So both players are trying and waiting on that central thrust, and in this position just castles was played, just a waiting move, but now just he goes for c5, trying just battling it out in the center, and you don't gain anything from capturing. Always never release the tension early on, because that helps you actually try and get your game better. Because if you go for a move like here, d captures, knight captures, bishop captures, I mean, it gives you nothing. Rook a to d1, queen captures, bishop captures, you've lost your initiative as white, and not something you want to do. But after c5 we have d5, which is the best move recommended by the engine, and Arjun goes for it. E captures now, but just e captures b5. It took so long for him to find this b5 move, but here just b3, and now just comes this rook to e8, queen to d2, and b4. b4 was, I mean, great analysis. This is the best move recommended by the engine, and he finds it here, Vincent. But here just a captures, c captures, now attacking the knight to a4, and position looks absolutely amazing. But the trouble with this position is that if you go for a move like knight to e4 directly hitting the queen, the fact is that I can just capture this pawn, and that was a very amazing pawn. And yes, I can see that my rook is hanging, but even if you go for bishop captures, this is one of those positions where the bishop is stronger than a rook. Once I go rook captures, you're gonna have very, very weak dark squares, and once you have weak dark squares somewhere along the line, there's gonna be some trouble along those dark squares, and it's gonna be very, very difficult to do anything against this position. And I mean, Vincent could probably hold this, and he knows that, but you don't want to be holding in a position where you want to win. So here after knight to a4 we have a5, but now this comes bishop to d3, knight jumps in. This is the same variation, but in this position actually that pawn is defended, and now you can actually collect that rook. So here after bishop captures on e4 we have first bishop captures on a1, not going for the bishop, and potentially you can bring the bishop back, but why would you give your opponent a bit too much where you can attack the dark squares of your opponent? Here rook captures on a1 was played, rook captures, knight to g5, immediately going for an attack, rook to e8, and just bishop to d4. Now you have control over the dark squares. You have to actually just culminate that attack to a victory, but it's going to be very, very difficult. It's very easier said than done. I mean, you're not going to be able to have it easy, especially against a player of Vincent's caliber. A queen to e7 was played, but now this comes f3, rook to a6, and just queen to f4, just getting those queen and amazingly centralized here towards the king. Bishop to c8, but now, and even if you go for a move like queen to h4 to try and mate, but here just h5, and what do you do in this position? You have to come back, try to put some pressure, but just knight jumps to e5. You're gonna have to give up the bishop now, because knight is going to be jumping, and if you don't want to give up the bishop, what do you even play? You cannot play a move like that, because there are going to be so many tactics in the position. You could maybe sacrifice the knight and win the rook, and yeah, you don't want that to happen. So here after rook to c8, just h4 was played, a waiting move, seeing what Vincent would do, but here just knight to e5, bishop captures, d captures, queen to e3, and now just comes this f5. So the bishop pair problem is gone now, and Arjun is still left with the exchange down. So what do you even do in this position? Well, you have a lot of central space. I mean, this is what Arjun is banking on, and he's waiting and hoping to see that maybe if he's able to eliminate these central pawns, then his position is going to be absolutely amazing, and that's what he's banking on. He just knight to c5 comes, attacking the rook, queen pins the knight, and now either you go for a trade or either you defend the queen. Here rook to e1, defending the queen, rook to d6, but now just f4, just defending that knight very nicely, and either you could push in this position or you could trade. I don't think you would want to trade, otherwise you just lose the rook. So here after this e4 comes, knight to f3, but now just going for this bishop to a6. Knight to f3 is a nice move. You can remaneuver the knight without actually worrying about anything here. Bishop to a6 comes, but just knight jumps to very nice e5 outlet. You can see that this is amazing knight, and somewhere along the line this knight could potentially get you the win that you want, but you're gonna have to play it perfectly. Here just rook to c8, knight to a4, queen caps on e3, rook captures, Normally you wouldn't want to trade the queens this early on, because you're in the midst of an attack. You have the knight pair, and you have to understand you have very nice control over these squares. So somewhere along the line, I think this was maybe not the best move to do, but they are very much low on the clock. They have to find the right moves here and try to maybe just hold on. Maybe they'll get their chance later, but I mean, what can you do other than that? Here just comes this bishop to b7, and now just comes h5. We have g5 now, but now just f captures, and g5 was the best move in this position. And yeah, you have to go for f captures. You cannot do anything else. Rook to c7 was played. Rook to c7, perhaps not the best idea by Vincent, because in this position actually rook to e8 is much better, attacking the knight. And where does the knight even go? You can go to this very nice d3 outpost, and the trouble with that is that you cannot capture now, because that would be hanging. So here, I mean, you have to find this very nice resource that black has in this position, which is this bishop to c6. And this is finding all of this with like 1 minute on the clock is absolutely a miracle if you're able to do that. But yeah, I mean, Vincent even couldn't find this with that much time, but yeah, he tried. But the thing is that you cannot capture because this would be hanging. So I mean, again, this was the best idea, but I mean, what do you even do in this position? The trouble is, I mean, maybe I just push, maybe I just wait. I mean, there are a lot more options in the position. Maybe I can play even. The trouble with pushing is that you just basically lose the pawn. And yeah, I'm still attacking, and I'm still attacking here as well. I can just push the pawn. I'm completely winning here in this position, so you don't want to do that. So here after captures, we have rook to c7, just a waiting move, but this is the second best move. He took some time, but he was able to find a decent idea. It's just g4, and g4 is not a good move in this position. The trouble is, now comes Vincent's idea. He goes for this very nice rook to e7 first, attacking the knight. He finds the right idea, but just one move later, knight to d3. Arjun goes for the correct idea as well. Rook to g7. Rook to g7 is a beautiful move. I mean, what do you even do in this position? Arjun was able to find this very nice defensive resource with knight to f2, because now you're defending this, and this captures doesn't come with any threats here. Rook caps on g5, but just king moves. Bishop captures on d5. He found this was the 40th move, and now he has the time on the clock. But finding this idea is absolutely genius. I mean, what a brilliant play by Vincent, really. I mean, I was watching the live stream, and I mean, once I saw that, I was really impressed. He's been playing some spectacular chess, Vincent, really. C captures, rook captures. The idea is that now your knight is stranded there. You cannot get the knight into the game, where these rooks are going to be absolutely amazing in this position. King to e2 was played, and the trouble in this position is that you cannot even capture. I mean, if you capture, this hangs, and even if you're able to do something like this, the knight is there. Rook captures, maybe you have something in this position. The trouble is that, hey, if you go for the captures, now just comes this knight captures on e4, and you don't even have this. This is the problem, because now there is this very nice fork in the position that you can obviously see. Knight to f6 check, and yeah, you're not losing or anything, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, it's still going to be a draw. But yeah, it's going to be a very excruciating draw. But here after king to e8, we have king to f8, not going for anything crazy. Knight to b6, rook to b5, and after knight to c4, now just going for f captures. Finally going for it, but now you can. It's just knight to d6, but now just comes rook to b6, attacking knight. Knight captures, and rook captures on h5. Knight caps on g4, rook to f5. But now the position is heading towards a draw, and Vincent and Arjun both know it. Rook to h3 was played, rook to e6, king to d3, and after rook to f4, both pair here agreed to a draw. But it's not a good result for Vincent, definitely. I mean, if he had won, he would have definitely had amazing chances to qualify for the candidates. But sometimes the positions are not that good as you want them to be, and Vincent's rating is very much important for him now. If he had pushed maybe here, I mean, he might be able to get a good position, but he could also get a worse position, and he understands that. So maybe, I mean, there is no hope for this position. I mean, it seems like you have like two rooks. Maybe you can try to push for something, but these two knights are going to be covering anything. You have the rook as well. Yes, there is only one pawn against three and two rooks, but it's not that much hope as you want it to be, and both players realize that it's going to be a draw. Rather than wasting time, they know that it's important that they just go for the draw. I mean, maybe not this time, maybe they'll have some chances in the FIDE World Cup, so let's see how they perform there. But great performance by both of them. Arjun Erigaisi is on a 7 out of 11, and Vincent Keymer is I think 7.5 out of 11. So definitely a spectacular performance by both of them. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.